The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
Now, Shelly, here's where the hard part comes. I've been home now for 4 months, okay? I still do wrestling. 2 things. Number 1, I absolutely hate it. It's the last thing in the world I want to be talking about. I've given my faith 100%. You know, God, you drive the car. Whatever is your will is my way. But yet, here's the thing. Like, so since I'm still doing wrestling, but in a different form, I feel that's holding me back because I'm still not listening to him. He's made it clear, I don't want you doing this wrestling thing, but as a man and a guy that needs to pay bills and support his family, like, this is how I make my income. This is what I've done for 20 years. So it's like, as much as I know he doesn't want me to do it, and I don't want to be doing it, it is my form of income. But since I'm not, totally letting go, I feel that's preventing me from getting to the next level. But, like, how do I totally let go when bills need to be paid?
Well, it's interesting because I can relate to you. There was a time where I did take some time off of wrestling. How can I make this short? Okay, so I am no longer with TNA, and I'm trying to think back. Okay, so I'm no longer with TNA. I meet this guy I consider my last serious boyfriend. I've dated guys here and there, but my last real serious boyfriend. So I met him. I was with him. I eventually moved in with him. But after the TNA thing, because I think I quit in like October or something, or November, and I met him that December. So then, for some reason, I think after WWE and everything that happened, and then having some interesting feelings towards TNA, I think I was just over everything. So I felt like I'm just going to go be this actress. And it made it really easy because I lived with this guy and he paid for everything. So I didn't have to really worry about anything. And that's when I was able to start working on building my website, my brand, getting exposed to different things, like learning how to do editing and all these different things that had nothing to do with wrestling. I felt just like you. I didn't want to talk about it. I did nothing. I remember I even did a couple of appearances with Kevin Thorne. I totally didn't dress up as a vampire at all. Like I just was rejecting it. Then we broke up and my sister was living with us. So my sister and I had to find a place to stay. And we did for a couple weeks until we found an apartment. And that's when I realized, well, I got to, I guess, go back into wrestling because that's how I'm going to make some money. And so that's kind of when I first started getting back into the whole swing of things, whatever. And then I thought, okay, well, awesome, because I should have been doing this whole time is what I thought. Mm-hmm. I should have been doing the actor thing, model thing during the week, and on the weekends wrestle. Like, I'm dumb for that. But I remember at that time, I was just like, I'm not supposed to be in wrestling. No, that's not where I'm supposed to be, whatever. And then when I re-entered it, it was out of desperation. Mm-hmm. And then I thought, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And I kind of re-embraced it with open arms without a guard being up. And then that got me in trouble because I got into the whole mentality of, oh, in WWE it's that way, but everywhere else it's all good. Like, that's what I signed up for, the awesome road stories, connecting with people. And at the end of the day, realizing that God was using me at these shows, because every single time I'd go to a show, I'd get into some deep conversation, and it wouldn't be me saying, hey, have you heard about the Lord? Like, it was never me saying anything. It was always people coming to me. And that's what I felt like. See, I knew this was my path. And then that's when what I always prayed made the most sense to me than ever. Because in those couple years that I took away from wrestling, even though I was able to grow in a different way, I had to kind of let that side of me have a fast of that side of me. And then when I came back, I was able to understand bringing both of those worlds together, what God's plan really was for me. So there I was, doing my thing. And then I started realizing in time, wow, it's not just in WWE. The difference is there's just more money to be made there. And all the same things happen in the indies. Like, it's the same thing.
It's wrestling.
And it broke my heart.
It's wrestling.
Broke my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
but
what
I was
say.
in that mentality of, oh, that's just WWE.
Yeah,
It's just WWE. Because everyone always wants to say, oh, how was it up there? Like, always. So, and for the record, I feel from what I was exposed to in WWE and being that grand scale of being the billion-dollar company it is, and people really having a name in this business, that also helped form who I am too, because when I would deal with other people, not just people that are in wrestling, but people in general, after you're exposed to that, it just kind of makes you realize how much of life's just really, for lack of a better term, a work, and how fake and phoniness is everywhere. Mm-hmm. And something that I've been saying a lot lately, because it's a new thing I've kind of come up with, is I've been many different people in this world. I've been, like right now, I'm a girl who lives with her sister in this awesome place with my dogs. I'm that girl. I'm a girl that's had normal jobs. I'm a girl that's been an actress. I'm a girl that's been a model. And I'm a girl that just grew up in Ontario, California. And I'm a girl that made it to WWE. So all of those components have the same drama, the same fakeness and phoniness. And it's all in one ball. It's all the same. But there's only one that orbits away, and it's in its own little universe, and it's wrestling. And it's so weird, because sometimes when I talk to people about how gross and dirty wrestling could be, people will say, well, that's everywhere. And I go, no, I know you can relate, but it's just different with wrestling. And that's when I came up with that analogy. It's like, I've been the girl that was the data entry girl in the office, so I get that world. I've been the girl in school. Yeah. I've been the girl that I just live here and people in my building don't know what I do, and I go out and about. Like, I can relate, but not many people can relate to not only wrestling, but the core of that is WWE, because when I was, I almost feel like if I never made it to WWE, I still would have been exposed to all of this behaviors. But because I did get to see it there and see, are you kidding me? I thought this was supposed to be professional up here and it happens here. Yeah. That's what opened my eyes. And so I really felt, now that I'm getting this, awesome. But then I just was getting more and more personally hurt. My feelings hurt. My peace was disrupted. And it's like a lot of these people in wrestling, because they don't live their life in the mind frame I do, which is for God, so I look at things different again. They're not even aware how much their actions are truly disrupting my peace, triggering my depression.
That's me. Shelly, same thing. You're talking for me. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want you to know I'm feeling everything you say. Please go on. And
so, in saying that, that's again, like those couple months, I just was like, oh my gosh, I became a girl who I just throw my bag down and pretty much saying, F all of you. Let's just do this and get it over with. Ew. And I realized that I had to go through all of that to get to where I am now. And now I'm able to look at things differently and with a loving heart of God. Like in a couple weeks, I'm going to be in the Jersey area, and there's going to be someone in particular at that show that really screwed me over. And
what show is this? When is this?
The Jersey All Pro.
Oh, it's a show. It's not like a convention or something?
No.
Okay, because I'm going to be out there November 14th.
Actually, LAX and I are going to be reuniting.
Oh, good for you. But go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you because your story's more important.
And saying that, had I not gone through these last few months, had I not gone through what I did right before that, because right before that, I kind of went through that again because, long story short, like I was telling you, I have coyotes here. Yeah. So my fear is that when the Mertzes, when they come into the patio, that the coyote, because we're street level, can come down. Well, I've been really aware, and then earlier in the year, our neighbor's cat was hanging out right here, and I heard him scream. It was like 3 in the morning. I came out, I saw the coyotes. They killed him. It was awful, and it brought back not only a lot of feelings in me, like with my grandma's death from a few years ago, but that cat really meant a lot to me because when my sister and I first moved here, I was really going through some like total betrayal. And I remember just being here. We didn't have any furniture yet and being out on that patio with that cat. And I was just like, damn, dude, like now it's like I've bonded with this cat and now he's dead. And I just saw it happen. And I was talking to my friend, Paul, and I was just like, all this BS in wrestling, it's just not worth it. Like some promoters were like jerking me around at that time. I'm just like, God, and I always say this, if I was like Francine or Kelly, people wouldn't treat me like that, these promoters, but because I was so open and doing things for the love of the business, lowering my prices, brother, doing what's right, I was getting screwed over. Mm-hmm. So I was just telling my friend Paul, who has nothing to do with wrestling, he comes from the Hollywood world, and he was just looking at me with like, how is this like, he's like, you're right, wrestling is just weird. And then I looked at him and I almost started crying. And I said, you know what? I think I'm done. Like, I just can't do this anymore. And I said, honestly, I wish, because there's 2 promotions, Hood Slam and Freak Show Wrestling, and it feels more theatrical than wrestling. I wish I could just get booked with them until I figure all this out. But I was ready to just be like done. And lo and behold, like 5 minutes goes by. Sim Bodie hits me up, who's the owner of Freak Show Wrestling, and he's like, hey, are you available on this date? And I was like, no. He's like, damn, I needed you for that. I said, I'm sorry, I've been booked for months for that. Then he sent me this whole itinerary for like 3 months of bookings. He goes, are you available for these days then? And I was like, dude, that's so crazy. I just said the only thing, like I wish blah, 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 because I realize it is a way of me making money. I tell people I'm an actress model by day, but instead of waiting tables on the weekend, mm-hmm. I wrestle. That's mm-hmm. what I do. Mm-hmm. So I realized I needed to still be in wrestling. And then but I didn't feel like God was telling me not to be in wrestling, like you were saying, but I was so fed up. So then when I went through those last few months, I felt like, you know what, maybe I just need to pray about this, whatever. And I was in such deep prayer, almost waiting for him to say, you're done, get out, you're done. I wanted your moment.
Right.
I wanted it. And then I was reading my Torah in the morning. And then it came to me and I heard the Lord's voice, like how you heard it. And he said, sorry, I'm not done with you here yet. You have to keep doing it. And I was just like, this is crazy. And I told my sister, I said, I finally now know how it feels when God calls you to do something you don't want to do. And to most people, they would think I sound crazy because they would love the opportunities I get, which are awesome opportunities. I get to travel. I get to connect with my friends. So it sounds like what's the problem, but that ugliness. And like you're saying, unless you know and you live it, we could sit here all day and tell stories. Yep. People, unless they are wrestlers listening and watching themselves, it's just, you don't know. It's an entity of its own. And I was just like, damn, okay, if this is what I have to do, then damn it, I'm going to be the best little wrestler I can be. And I was like, I better start training more yet. Not that I wasn't training, but just, I guess I was just like, whatever. And I not taking it serious because I was ready to be done. And I realize now I'm not, because it's above all that BS. It's called, I needed to go through all that so that the Lord can soften my heart, give me compassion. And I feel that I've been taken out of wrestling for reasons, like because he wanted me out of it, but it wasn't for good. It was to go experience so that I can come back and bring forth way more because of my experiences. When I'm talking to different people, they can relate to me, Yeah. I don't know.
You see, Shelly, I need to have these spiritual talks with you, but you're always blowing me off. Now don't you feel bad? Because God was on my heart. Get a hold of Shelly, so we could have this conversation, and you will blow me off.
Let me tell you something, brother. First of all, going back to the rainbow, I shared with you that day that there was times I felt that you didn't like me. Oh. And we talked about that. So there's that, and that's fine. And then you asked if I would do this, and I said yes. And then And at that time, it was so crazy because my laptop was all messed up. Then my phone was broken, and then I was like phoneless, and it's like, and I'm trying to like communicate with people through my Google Voice so I don't lose bookings and all these different things. And then my sister's computer doesn't have a webcam, and all of these components. And it wasn't me blowing you off. It was things that were not in my control. And then I was thinking about it because on my Skype, you kept popping up of seeing that you were logged in. And so that I text you. I was like, hey, da-da-da. Because I was like, oh, everything's fixed now.
Yeah.
Maybe I should go for this. And the reason why I never looked at it as blowing you off is because I'm a huge believer in letting things happen organically. Like if we would have did it then, I wouldn't. That was right after Lucha Underground, so I was on fire, thinking that I was going to be starting with them soon, and like all this, my energy was different.
Yeah.
You hadn't gone through the things that since then you have gone through.
Good point.
So
you're right.
it was supposed to be today.
I agree.
We have this,
Yep.
so that all of this stuff that went through both you and me separately, could come together, and we can share and hopefully bring some light to people who are tuning in and hearing our thoughts and such. And so there you go. So take that, Vince Russo.
I agree with that. And you know what, Shelly? Listen, we've been on for an hour already, and it went by like I'm not kidding you. I could talk to you for 5 hours, but it's been an hour already. But I'm going to hit you with one last question. But the last question is, even though we've been an hour, I don't think you can answer this last question in 60 seconds.
I'll try.
I don't. No, I don't want you to. I don't want you to. But that's why I want to ask it now, you know. Shelly, if I asked you what is the meaning of life, what would you tell me?
Love. Because it's simple and it seems generic, but for example, I had a friend break up a couple weeks ago or months ago, and
I lost for a second. Somebody must
my
have
alarm went off. Sorry.
Okay, but you had a friend.
So I had a friend break up, and it was really tough because for me, I feel like guys, they're bound to screw you over, but your girlfriends, no. And it was really hurtful. And I remember at one point, because I've been on and off, mostly on friends with this person for like almost 15 years. So this is the third time they've turned on me. So it's like, okay, there's a pattern here. And it was so hard not to take it personal. And I was mad. I was angry. It made me not want to be close to anyone else. Again, wanted to make me hermit. But how am I supposed to share God's love if I'm hermiting, right? Closing myself off. So a lot of people my close friends give me a hard time saying I'm always obsessed with death. Because a lot of times I'll say, when I get really medicated and have that scary feeling for a second, I'll say, oh my God, we're going to die one day. And I am literally afraid. I'm overwhelmed by that. But maybe this will help you if you decide.
You want to know something, Shelly? I'm the same exact way.
But you know what? Here's the thing. You know why? I feel, because I was telling my friend, that's truly being God-fearing. Because I grew up Christian. I practice Judaism now. But I grew up Christian, and I was always told, you had to fear God. And that fear was always, in my situation, kind of guilt-based, like, don't do this, you're going to hell. Don't do this, you're going to hell. So that's what I thought fearing God was. But now I look at it as, wow, no matter what, I'm going to die. And that puts me in check. And that me thinking of it in such a clear way happened after I experienced my grandma's death a couple years ago. So that it always starts with, oh my God, grandma's dead. She's dead. She is dead. She died. Like her and my sister are the two consistent people in my life ever. And now one of them's gone. And one day I'm going to die. And my sister's going to be here because I'm 9 years older than her. And I'm not going to be here. And that scares the crap out of me. And then it makes me go, like with that Bush League webcamming, it made me think that thought, oh my God, what am I doing? Because this right here is not worth like that. I'm going to die. So I'm going to who knows, what'll happen. I don't know if I'm 100% right. I feel I am. And I know that when I nurture what my beliefs are, that I find true peace, and that works for me. So even if I'm wrong, at least in this life, I was able to find that where a lot of people can't. And I thought, I never would, to be honest. So for me, that thought of death equals truly putting myself in check so that I make better decisions, so that I can stay on that righteous path, because we're not all perfect. We all make mistakes, and it's all about that journey of learning from those mistakes and growing from them. And so when this girl, I was just in that place, like, oh, that bitch again, you know? But then I pictured her in a coffin. And all of a sudden, I was like, dude, she's going to die one day. And here she is, all distracted by this stuff. Oh my gosh, she is going to die one day. And all of a sudden, I had this overwhelming love for her. And to be honest with you, I wrote her on Facebook privately, and I said, no matter what, you can't stop that I love you. So just know I always will love you. And I meant it. And to answer, like, it wasn't 60 seconds, so sorry, but I think that that's an example of why love is the true meaning, because you can learn so much by just trying to love. And that's why that whole love your enemy as you love yourself, because you're going to die one day. They're going to die one day. So does it matter? Yeah, you can be aware and know not to maybe trust somebody or whatever. But like for me, sometimes I don't trust people. I would go through spurts where like I'm kind of cold with them and very just like, oh, hey, what's up? And it's like, that's not showing God's love. So it's like, I have to put myself in check and be like, damn, dude, okay, I'm aware of this. But like, there's a wrestler, total douchebag. I won't say his name. I don't like him. I do not like him. And the reason why I don't like him is because aside from how he treats girls and how he screwed over my girlfriends and how he's a douche, he is a good guy. So it pisses me off that, like, he's got to be this, like, douche to my girlfriends and this guy. So that's why I don't like him. It's not because I think he sucks. It's just because, like, damn it, I want to like you. And the reason why I don't like you is because, look, why do you got to do this? Yeah. But when I see him, I have learned to just be, like, very warm with him. But he knows how I feel. And it had to go to me telling him. I said, look, we used to be friends, and I like you. We started together and everything, but damn it, then you did this, and then you did this. Yeah. I don't know how to feel around you.
Do you say, damn you, homicide?
No, it's not him.
I had to get that in there. When you were telling the story, he came to my mind, that little bald-headed man that I love.
No, but so, in saying that, I had to force myself to show this person love that screwed over two people who are very close to me. Yeah. I had to have that love and compassion. And whenever I see that guy, instead of me having that pit in my stomach, I just go, damn it, so-and-so. Yeah. Come over here.
You know what it is, Shelly? When you can stop yourself, I swear to God, we have so many similarities. I'm not just telling you that, we do. But when you could stop yourself for that split second and just realize how trivial it is, how unimportant it is, how ridiculous it is, you can turn things around like that. I mean,
it's hard. It's hard
yes,
because
it is.
sometimes
We're human.
Especially if you're going through other things and someone kind of just triggers that. It's easy to go there because we are human.
We're human.
Yep, but look, isn't it cool that your struggles and my struggles were able to like relate to each other, and then you're going to think about the things I said, think about the things you said, and going back to what you were saying about you found, Christianity through wrestling, and you had this whole thing. Something that I just want to throw out there to you is, as you know, life after wrestling is very difficult, and a couple weekends ago, where was I at? Boston area, and one of the people that was in the car with me was the Godfather. It was my friend Ted, Godfather, and the guy that was driving us, and he was just talking to the guy that was driving us, and he was just sharing about how there's so much, like, some of these guys just make so much money, it's just crazy, and that unless you really have something else going on outside of that, that's why a lot of these wrestlers go broke, Yeah. And sorry, my battery. So, when he was saying that, and then they started talking about how like football players and other athletes kind of have that same, problem. And then I thought to myself, you know what? That's pretty freaking cool that I've been able to, like, the last time I had a real job was before I got signed to WWE. So I've been able to stay afloat through all of that. And staying afloat through all of that, and then hearing him say that, it reminded me of these different people who I've gotten to know, that especially people that, you know, were a big deal in the ECW days, in the WCW days, and you just see them now and it's kind of sad. So all of that together made me realize that even if you have conversations, or just you were light and you didn't have to say anything and people were watching, they're going to remember that when they're sitting and there's no more TV, there's no more brother time. They realize who their real friends are because, like, they're older now and they're not on the road or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's when they're going to reflect on these moments and remember, damn, that one time, Vince Russo, it was something that was weird about him that day, and it kind of made me like him more, or something like that. Or that one time he said that, and da-da-da. And it's like little seeds that you planted. So don't think that any seeds that you planted didn't get to seep in deep in the soil. It's just taking some time for it to finally grow.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for 1 second, even if you can't change everyone's life, but even if it's just that 1 second when they're thinking of it, or they think of you often, or every time they feel a certain way, they remember something you said. How cool is that?
Yeah. No, that's a great. Listen, I'm glad we had this conversation, because I'm going to be honest with you. I was in one of the moods today, because I have to tell you something, Shelly. Like, part of my job is I've got to sit there for 3 hours and watch Monday Night Raw. And then I have to review it, because I get paid to do it. It's my job. But knowing where the business was and seeing where it is now, it's almost like torture for me. So, like, I wake up on Tuesdays in a very bad mood, you know. But I got to tell you, Shelly, like, you know, it's a constant battle with the flesh. But, like, through it all, like, I found myself, you know, really being down on the WWE. And I said I caught myself, and I was like, listen, I don't want to be part of the problem. I want to be part of the solution. I wrote Vince McMahon an email, and I just said, listen, I just want you to know, if you ever need help, you know, I love you. I always love you. If you ever need any kind of help, I'm here. And I did that because God told me to do that. You know,
I hear you.
Yeah, just out of the love. But you know what? Here's the sad thing, Shelly. Like, because I can see it crystal clear now. In that company, there is such a sense of pride, and no, we don't need anybody's help. They'll go out of business before they extend a hand and say, you know what, we need help. And just to sit by and watch pride, you know, pride is the evil of pride, and money, that is the evil of the world. And to sit back and see a guy like me saying, listen, I'll do it for free. It's not about money. I want to help you. I want to help you get back to where you were. But to know that pride overcomes all that, that really puts everything in perspective, and that makes me happy that I'm in the place that I'm in.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. I totally get it, because I don't talk about this ever, but since we're talking, you brought it up.
So this is an exclusive?
This is an exclusive.
All right, go ahead.
It's interesting because if I had it my way, I would be in Lucha Underground, and that's what's up. And I don't know who am I, but conversations I privately have with my sister is, I don't know what it is, but I just feel that God keeps telling me that I need to do, like, it's WWE involved. Maybe it's just the people I still talk to, and I'm there for them in the way we've talked to today, and being able to help them, because one of my friends, my good friends up there, is a total man of God, and so he goes through these different struggles, so it helps that, you know, he has his spiritual buddy, and so maybe that could be, but there's just, it's an interesting thing where it's like, I feel almost like an asshole for saying, I kind of think I'm supposed to be there, because
I get it.
I don't want, and it's not because I want to, because I can't medicate when I'm there. Like, that sucks. That sucks big time. for me.
Right.
So it's like, there's that, and, a lot of other things. So I say that I just love that it was put on your heart to do that, because even if nothing materializes from it to your face, you never know if he's rereading that Vince Russo, what does he know? And he thinks about it. Well, what did he say? And then reads it again, and then reads it again. And that's sometimes we can make impacts on people, and we'll never know until the time is right. Because life always does that. It could be years and years and years, but it always comes back to you some way or shape or form when you're not thinking of it. I just got in a conversation the other day about letting things go. And I was telling someone, I said, the true definition of letting things go is that whole, there used to be this rice cooker, set it and forget it. You got to just throw it out there and then forget about it, because the moment you don't obsess and trying to make something work organically, what is supposed to happen will. But sometimes you got to throw things out there to help that process and keep it on that road and on that path. And
that also ties it right in with doing it on God's time and not yours. It's not on your time. It's on His time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
As many times as you want to say, oh, come on, why? That was my whole learning thing, is I'd be like, I just want to know now. If I can know now, I can work with that. I just want to work with it. If I'm the asshole, let me know I'm the asshole, so I can work with that. Yeah. But then it's like, that's my time. And then life will pan out. And I'm just like, dude, I was totally supposed to go through all of this. So I understand now. And then there's times too where I'm like, well, I just wish I knew that so-and-so knew da-da-da. And then maybe years happen. And then it gets back to me. If not from that person, well, blah, blah, blah. And then I go, I knew it. Wow, I haven't thought about that in a really long time.
Yeah. Shelly, I want to ask you one last question, then I'm going to let you go. I have to know this. Do I need to, start getting on the phone and cracking heads? When I left L.A., did they ever allow you in the club? This is what, and I want to hear it from you, because I still talk to one of the parties involved, and it's a very different story. So I want to hear from you. Have they opened up their arms and allowed you in this exclusive club in L.A.?
Nothing has changed. But I will say this.
Okay. One
of the people in that club is Kat, and Kat is in my active life. She's my friend.
Okay, so Kat's okay.
No, she's more than okay. She's my friend.
Okay, good. And I love Kat to death.
I know,
what a sweetheart. But the other parties.
I don't have a problem with them, but I guess maybe I'm just not for them, and that's fine. Maybe they're not for
Shelly,
me.
Can I tell you something? And we could talk for another hour, but I got to say this with you, because I think this may be part of the lucha thing too. Okay, Shelly, when you're on a different level. And you are on a different level, and I really believe that different level is the God level. I mean, I really do. I'm going to be honest with you.
That is.
Shelly, you are on a different level. And when you're on a different level, people can't relate to that. And what happens is, they do look at Shelly and they're like, what? She's weird. She's crazy. She's this, she's that. They really can't figure you out. So what they tend to do is, rather than deal with it, they just ignore it and forget about you. You're one of those people, because you're on this intellectual level. I'm being honest with you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're on a level that, listen, it would really take a lot of time to get to know and understand you. And you know what? Maybe some people aren't going to like what you have to say, because you're the messenger. You know what I'm saying? And that's why a lot of times it's you get shut out because they're not on your level.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, because I did have to learn that the hard way, in the sense of, for example, there's some people who aside from this group, I've had the same experience with. And then when time has kind of gone by and I got to see the people in that group individually in a different way, I realized, well, the only thing I have in common with these people are medicating and wrestling. And there's more to my life than medicating and wrestling, even though I don't, I do medicate often, and I am all about it, and I am passionate about it and everything, but it's not like I'm hey, you want to go get high, bros? Let's go. Like this whole thing. And that's fine. Some people, they find it more of a social thing and they like that social aspect. Whereas me, I sit at home and I'll get medicated, and it's because I'm getting stuff done, or, maybe I'm having my depression's kicking in and I need to work out. So I got to hit that bong a couple extra times. So for me, it's not, I do enjoy the social when it's my people, my circle of people that I've acquired throughout the years. And another thing about not having much in common with people and it being a blessing that I kind of was not included, I feel that when I have gone out of my way so that I am connecting with people that is in the same kind of category, I always get butthurt. I'm the one that always gets hurt because they're the ones that get weird. And then I'm just like, oh, okay, why are you weird? And then they're like, I'm not weird. You're the one that's being weird. And I'm like, how am I being weird? I'm the same today as I was when you met me. Yeah. And so it's this whole thing. And so I find that, like with the little group you're referring to, that it just wasn't meant. It just wasn't meant. And it's probably better that way, because maybe I would have invested myself into some friendships that would have ended up hurting my feelings. And that would have sucked. So, and Kat, she's a person that I've known for a really long time, and I haven't known those people for a really, really long time. Yeah. I've traveled with her, so there's something to be said when you travel with somebody and you share a hotel room and you have talks and a long drive. Like, I've built that with her. And
now
go ahead.
Shelly, I could have sworn I read this somewhere. You're doing some kind of acting in one of her things?
Yes.
See, I thought I read that somewhere.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Her and I click because we have a lot of stuff aside from wrestling, and she doesn't medicate. So nothing to do with those two things that usually are the only thing that hold me together. We have so much other things in common, our conversations, our thoughts, even though...
Shelly, why doesn't Kat give me a part? I'm too old. I look too old. I'm too old for... Well, how come I don't get a part in the movie?
I don't know. You have to take it up with her.
Gray, is it the gray? I'll do that.
I like gray.
Because I'll dye it black. Whatever I got to do. You're good with gray?
I'm a fan of gray.
Okay.
The guy I have a crush on is totally gray.
Totally gray. Eric Bischoff.
No!
Oh, listen, Shelly, I got to tell you, I loved it. This is why I was tracking you down. Because nobody thinks like you. Nobody talks like you. And I got to tell you, I really needed to have this conversation with you today because my mind was negative coming off of last night. Very negative. Now you put me back on the path of love.
You know what? Can I tell you something real quick?
Yes.
When I went to Canada in September, it was awesome, because I got to be with my longest friend in wrestling, my BFF extraordinaire, SoCal Val.
Oh, so you're good friends with SoCal? I didn't know that.
Yeah, since
okay. I keep
years old.
I put SoCal over on Twitter all the time. Every time I see her.
Yeah, since she was like 16.
I had no idea. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Yeah. She is an awesome human being.
Yes.
And
yes.
She's intergalactic and fabulous. But we got to be with each other, so it was awesome because we haven't really been able to see each other. Just for maybe an hour or two here and there at conventions, because you know how crazy conventions get, but we got to room together. It was awesome.
That's great.
And one of the things that I didn't realize that was going to happen is I literally landed, because the plan was I was going to land and then we were going to all go to dinner, and then the next day we were going to start a whole thing. So they picked me up and they go, well, we have two options. We could take you to your hotel, and then we got... Val got tickets for the WWE house show, and then after go to dinner, or I said, no, we're going to the WWE house show, because I don't watch, but I hadn't been there, and I thought, this is awesome. And when I went, it was so cool because the people who I have either vibed with or connected with, because I didn't even realize until we got there, we were front row. It was so awesome. And Ryback hugs me ringside. It was just awesome. It was positive. And the way I looked at it was with so much fun and with ease. And I think the reason why is because when I was you, my mind frame about wrestling was different. And then when I've caught some things here and there, I said, you know what? You just can't take it serious, because once you take it serious and you don't accept that this just is what it is and it's just not going to change, then you're going to get mad. and you're just going to get frustrated. So it's about having to just look at it as it is what it is. And once you can, you'll be able to see that even though maybe it's not supposed to be making you laugh, but it is, you can have a lightheartedness about it, and then you can enjoy it. Maybe you can't write a certain way because then you're just going to be making it a whole comedy article about maybe, I don't know, but at least you can stomach it and watch it in a different way to where when you're writing your article, at least it's coming from an openness, because whether you like it or not, Vince Russo, that's just is what it is, and that's just how it's going to be.
Shelly, you know, it's so funny that you tell me that story. I'll tell you why. Because they were 20 minutes from my house yesterday, right? Number one, there's this guy. I have a hookup at a supermarket where I go in, and my good friend Randy gives me piping hot fried chicken every time I go in there. So I wanted to take care of Randy, right? So how ridiculous is it, Shelly, that Vince Russo cannot call the WWE and get comp tickets? I can't do it because I've become the enemy because I don't put them over 24/7. If it's good, I'll say it's good. If it's bad, I'll say it's bad. They don't like that, right? So I can't call on my own to get tickets for Randy and his two little kids. Then I'm scared to death. Okay, I can call people within the company, but if anybody finds out they're getting tickets for Vince Russo, arch enemy number one, then heat's going to be put on those guys, you know? Then it's like I couldn't even dream of going to the event because, like, I'd be barred from the building. How sad is that for somebody that gave 5 years of his blood, sweat, and tears to help that? I mean, it's so ridiculous, but that's a whole other story for
Here's the thing.
But
it's high school. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's just high school, and that's like what was it called? USB, or what is it? SBU? The little, like, the president of the class. And
student union board, SUB, yeah. Yeah.
So it's like that's who they are, and they're like, we don't need him. He's a troublemaker.
Right.
No, you're not invited, and that's all it is. And it is sad, but you know what? At the end of the day, those people are going to die one day. So if they're going to live and be miserable and judgmental and filled with stress and chaos, then so be it. Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
But there's nothing we can do to change it.
Nothing good. But
trust me, there's people that don't talk to me because of how I got fired, and it's like, awesome. And I took that very much to heart when there was one time, I lived down the street from this place called UCB. And UCB is this comedy. If you guys are into comedy out there, you know what I'm talking about. So they had the thing down the street. And a week before, I was talking to somebody in WWE, one of my friends, and I was like, yeah, next time you're in town, just let me know, like, blah, blah, blah. We were making, it said, okay, yes, da-da-da. I had no idea, because I don't follow the product, that they were coming soon. So I found it interesting that when my sister and I were walking, who was going over there, that person, I was like, awesome. And they were like, oh, hi, Shelly, da-da-da. Even I was just like, no, why is this happening? And I gave them a hard time about it. And they're like, oh, well, whatever. And I was just like, it is what it is. And I was real upset over it for a while. But I thought, you know what? This person has helped make me a better person because they were a very positive influence in me. Yeah. And I got to just remember that. And maybe now that connection is over and it's done with. But, it just is what it is. And I just passed it.
That homicide's causing you all kinds of... How does he continue to cause all kinds of problems in your homicide of all people? Listen, Shelly, I love you. You have to commit to me right now. This is not going to be the last time you're on the show.
Of course not.
Because this was a great conversation. You really helped me out. We were supposed to have this conversation today.
I know.
And I know when I air this, it's going to help other people out.
It will. And you know what? I wasn't blowing you
I believe. Shelly, tell everybody where they could follow you.
Well, all of you can follow me. You can go to @Shelly from Cali. That's SHELLY from CALI. And that's also on Instagram @Shelly from Cali. And I have a website, shellymartinez.net. That's where I put everything. I blog. I'm all up to craziness. The wrestling's there. And if you're interested in checking out my modeling website, that is Shelly's with an S, Secret Society www.vixenswhorule.com, and I have Snapchat just for my secret society, so stop asking to be added unless you're part of my secret society. And on Periscope, same thing, at Shelly from Cali. I just started, and I look forward to streaming a lot of really cool things. So that's all of my stuff.
Well, Shelly, listen, I thank you so much for finally joining. It was well worth the wait. Listen, I want you to know I love you very, very much. Thanks for joining us today, but I don't want you to go anywhere because I want to sign off, and then I want to thank you personally.
All right. Adios.
All right. Shelly Martinez, everybody. There you go. Vixens Who Rule. I'll see you right back here next week.
Pro Wrestling's history class is now in session with Back to the Territories. Join host Jim Cornette and J.J. Dillon as they explore Mid-Atlantic wrestling.
Sitting there with his hands like this was Jim Crockett Sr.
3.5 hours of wrestling history told through rare memorabilia and exclusive footage.
Nothing topped Wahoo McDaniel and Johnny Valentine.
Featuring over an hour of lost Mid-Atlantic film footage from Jim Cornette's collection.
The kid from Minnesota, it was going to be something, Ric Flair.
Head back to Mid-Atlantic Wrestling and ShootInterviews.com.